Hi, my name is Stewart, and I'm a challenger.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Challenge State, where we discuss all about the mental game, covering performance tips and strategies you can implement to become more successful, bringing you knowledgeable thought leaders from around the world. Listen up and let's get started.
Thanks for coming on the show, Sam, and spending some time with us.
Cheers, thanks for having me.
So those who follow you know you're an avid CrossFit athlete. Let's start by telling us a little bit about yourself. Other than CrossFit, what do you do? Do you have a job or are you a full-time athlete?
So what I do for a living is I coach CrossFit. So I guess that's how you'd make turn CrossFit into a kind of a full-time athlete thing. I think most full-time athletes work some capacity in CrossFit, so they'll coach or do some sort of online stuff. So I'm most of the time coach, but with the lockdown, obviously it's more of an online kind of sending programs to people and stuff.
Gotcha. Before we get into CrossFit, I first want to know about your childhood. Like, where did you grow up and what it was like when you were younger?
Cool. So I'm from Dublin, Ireland. When I was growing up, I guess I didn't start CrossFit till I was probably like 15 or 16, which I guess is still kind of young. But prior to that, I played all sports growing up. I remember I was playing basketball, football, rugby, lots of rugby, kind of when I was quite young, and then and I even like athletics and stuff. And then I got really into martial arts, so I got well stuck into martial arts for years. And kind of when I was maybe halfway through secondary school or second year of secondary school, my coach or PE teacher was doing kind of CrossFit stuff after school, which I got stuck into, and then kind of got more continuously kind of stuck in over the years. Then left school, kind of joined a gym, and then that's how I kind of got stuck into that.
So it was your school teacher or coach that got you into CrossFit?
Yeah, exactly. So it was my PE teacher, but he's I think PE teacher is like an underqualified way of saying what he actually was. He was like an exceptional PE teacher, like a coach, really knowledgeable strength and conditioning coach. Was into CrossFit. He also was big into mixed martial arts. If you look at Conor McGregor's first fight on YouTube, where he's like fighting some lad in his swimming trunks, if you look at the referee, that's him. He was the head referee for mixed martial arts in Ireland for a few years as well.
Wow, and that was your PE teacher.
Yeah, exactly. Scary guy for a lot of people.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
So you were doing martial arts. How old were you when you first started martial arts?
I was 11 or 12 when I first got into that, and then I stuck with it till I was 18. So I did type of martial arts called Chinese kickboxing, and then Kung Fu as well, which is kind of your more traditional martial arts. And the other stuff was more like the sport stuff, where you like kickboxing competitions and stuff.
Gotcha. So you were, did you say 14 when you switched over to CrossFit?
Yeah, it's about 14. Yeah, I think
14.
14. Yeah.
Wow, that is pretty young.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So what made you switch from doing martial arts to CrossFit?
So I was doing both of them for ages, and then in my last year of school, I kind of just didn't have the time for both, and I felt that the martial arts was taking too much time. It was easier just to go to the gym when you had to study for exams and stuff, because you wanted to go to the gym, then you wanted to do your martial arts as well, and then you also have to study and stuff. So I think it was just a natural progression that year that kind of just weaned off, and then I just kind of really fell in love with the CrossFit stuff, you know.
Gotcha. So what point at your journey did you decide going into competitions, CrossFit competitions?
So early enough, there was a team competition. There's a big competition in Ireland everyone kind of knows, called the Filthy 150, which is it's now a sanctional event. Back then, it was just like a team of four competition that everyone kind of tried to get a team from their gym to go to. And we got a team one year, and I was on that. So I got on that team, and I think that was my first competition. Then we had, I think there was a competition at my gym, like kind of just like local kind of one where we hosted it, and I did that as well. But I think my first actual competition that I did on my own, or individual, I mean, was regionals, which is kind of funny to think about.
Mm.
Usually you want a bit of experience before going there.
How was that?
Yeah, that was amazing. That was very cool. I was just seeing on the Instagram flashback or throwback thing on Instagram, and that was like 2 years ago
Mm.
to the day, like a few days ago. So it was cool seeing all the Instagram memories and whatever stories and stuff.
So how old were you when you went to regionals?
I was 20.
20. Gotcha. So you had a bit of time to practice before you went individual, and you went straight in for the regionals.
Yeah, like
Mad.
yeah, it's a little bit mad.
Wow. So you didn't do any like small individual events, or?
Well, I'd done the team one, and I'd done that one at our gym. But I think because I'd done so many like martial arts and stuff and fights and all that, like if you go into a fight, you're quite nervous. Like obviously, some guy is going to be punching you in the face and trying to hurt you. So, nervous wise, I think when you just have to do fitness and no one's going to punch you in the face, I think it helps your nerves quite a bit. So I was kind of used to a competitive setting as an individual, because obviously you're not on a team when you're doing martial arts either.
Right.
So I was kind of, in that sense, I was kind of used to the hype of it all and that kind of thing.
Gotcha. And I'm guessing, how did you do in regionals? Did you do well, or was it just like a learning curve?
I had no expectations that year because, again, it was my first comp, so the expectations weren't so high of myself. It's more just kind of enjoy myself, get the experience. But
Mm.
I think I finished. I think I was like I think it was about 40 athletes. I was between 20 and 23rd, somewhere in there, because I think some guys got popped for drugs. So I think my placing shifted.
Mm.
But some up and down events. One event I did really well. I came second, second overall, which was kind of a surprise, a nice surprise. But
Mm.
and then it was kind of just mediocre, up and down of placings, I guess, on the rest of them.
Fair enough. Cool. So what's the driving force for you to keep competing at CrossFit competitions? Like what motivates you to keep going?
I think I just really enjoy it. I've kind of just discovered that, like, just like by doing it, you kind of know that, okay, I can kind of get kind of good at this. And then like you go to them, you get the experience, and it's just amazing. And then you kind of come back and you're like, okay, that definitely beats doing pretty much anything else. So like they're just super enjoyable. It's really good to, like, I'm just competitive and I love kind of sports and stuff. So it's just like it's perfect for me. Because I like that kind of training. I like all the training involved. I like the daily kind of push, and it's just nice to see where you are against other people and stuff. Yeah,
No, cool. Gotcha.
yeah.
So you compete at a lot of sanctional events over the last, is it 2 years now you've been competing, because you're 22 now.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you approach every event you come up to mentally? Is there like a set routine, or do you go something through with a coach? What's
Yes.
like usual step by step coming up to it?
Yeah. So I guess first thing you have to know is find out where the competition is. So like if you have to travel far, or it's a different time zone, or like where will you get your food and stuff like that, and how far are you going to be staying? Like, is your accommodation away from the event and stuff? So you can kind of plan out your day and how you're going to get there and what that's going to look like. So you can just have an idea. Then I think
What do you make sure what do you make sure you kind of make sure you're close to when you're looking at a place to stay?
you don't want to be like driving or taking you don't have to be on a bus 40 minutes for the competition every morning or
Sure.
something.
Yeah.
Local enough,
Got-
otherwise it's just going to be awful.
yeah. I get you.
And
What else?
so then I guess you kind of just have to look at the workouts, what they've released, or if they haven't released any, you probably have to look at what workouts they've released in the past. So maybe like the year before, see what kind of events they had. But if they have released them, maybe you'll want to test the workouts ahead of time, or at least come up with a bit of strategy, so that if you have an exact strategy for a workout, say it's like, I don't know, like 100 wall balls and some like muscle ups, you know that you're gonna what sets you're gonna do the wall balls in. You're gonna go 50 and 50, and you're gonna do the wall or the muscle ups, sorry, in sets of 8. So that when you have that plan, you've tested it on the day. It's really simple to know if you did that or not. So it's like yes or no. Like, did you do the exact plan you created? If so, yes, great, you accomplished it. And did you give full effort? You know, that kind of thing. Towards it, because it's measurable. Then if you just show up and go, oh, I'll wing this one, see what happens, and then you're disappointed after, like, no wonder you're going to be disappointed, because you had no expectation. Well, you had an expectation, but you had no plan. You can't really hold yourself to like any standard towards it, which I've done. I've done that loads of times, and that's definitely by going to all these sanctionals, it's something you learn. You know, you can't test them all. Sometimes you want to rest the week before a competition, so you're like, oh, I just want to test that one, but it's probably a better idea to do it.
Gotcha. So most of these events, they tell you what's coming up, don't they? So you're not going in blind.
Yeah, and I think sometimes they don't let you know. They want a few blind tests as well. I remember in Dubai this year, they didn't let you know a good few of the events, even like on the day, or they at least told you the event but didn't tell you what order it'd be in. And then I think on the last workout, they didn't tell you the final for ages, and then they purposely gave you the wrong weight. So they said that these thrusters are going to be like, I think they said 55 kilos, and you got out there and they were like 70 kilos. So like they're just trying to mess around with you.
When they mess you around like that, how do you kind of adapt? What goes through your minds? And because I imagine if I was going to go, well, you know, you almost got a tactic, haven't you, going up to these things? And for them to kind of throw that in there, how do you quickly do maths in your head quickly, or do you kind of just go, right, let's do it and wing it again, like you said earlier, or what do you do?
Well, in that case, I guess it's kind of a bit rarer, but like there's nothing you can do. You're there. You can't object. You know, you can't go, sorry, can you change the weights for me? Like, you just have to go along with it. I think in that setting, it's the last event of the weekend. You're absolutely wrecked. I think you just have to look at the person next to you and see, okay, I'm going to try and beat this guy. You know, that's, I think, where you have to just dig deep and get a bit competitive, and like just to test yourself, like how bad do you want to win this event, or like do well in this workout.
Gotcha. How do you feel being a younger athlete and competing against the more mature athletes who have been around longer? Do you kind of get starstruck by them when you're in the warm-up area, or are you quite relaxed about it all?
No, I think I'm definitely quite relaxed about it. Like, I haven't come across really anyone who's not that nice or anything, or like think so highly of themselves that they won't like be nice, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, everyone seems like pretty good. Everyone has the same kind of goals. Everyone wants to do well. Everyone enjoys fitness. So everyone seems like on the same page. So there's no real. I've just never noticed any kind of how do you say, like, I can't think of the word, but like mature athletes acting differently or anything. You know what I mean? I think it's pretty much. I think everyone's on the same page. Everyone's just there. I think what brings people back to earth is like, okay, you have to be at heat 4 at this time. The workout's going ahead without you. No one's bigger than the event. So that keeps everyone on earth and on the same page, I think. Even at strength and depth, Matt Fraser's obviously there. He's just a normal guy. Like, he's just hanging out. Like, obviously, it's when it's time to get serious and do the workout, he's serious and does the workout. But like, he's pretty normal dude the rest of the time. He's no different to the rest of us.
What's it like being in the warm-up area? Do you kind of keep your distance from people, or is it kind of, I remember with strength and depth, it was quite kind of small. I mean, I've not looked at many warm-up areas, but you're kind of sharing, you're almost on top of each other sometimes, aren't you? What's it like?
Exactly.
What's it like? Warming up, trying not to be in people's bubbles.
I think everyone just knows because obviously there's only a certain amount of equipment. So like you'll just have. There's always the case. You'll always just have to work in with someone else on a bar. Like say you have to warm up your lifts or whatever. You'll kind of just say, "Hey, can I have a go?" Like no one's going to be like, "No." Well, I haven't come across that, but like I think it's a lot of people. You'll kind of also know. You'll probably make friends with people like you'll see at different competitions. Like so, you'll see the same people regularly enough. So you'll kind of know, oh, I can warm up with so and so because like I know them well enough to we can share a bar or whatever, you know. I did like there's no real like it's not WWE. There's no like Stone Cold Steve Austin smack talk. Um, I think the only smack talk is people making a joke like saying they'll look at someone and go like, hey, you going broken on this when you clearly shouldn't. A joke like that or something, you know. But there's no. I don't think anyone's brave enough to be say, I'm going to kick your ass and such and such, you know.
So there's no real mind games between athletes usually.
Well, if there is, I'm either completely oblivious to it or they're really bad at it.
If I was an athlete, I know because I'm not the strongest out there, I'd be trying to play dirty tactics mentally.
Yeah, few banana
But,
peels on the floor.
yeah. Right. Okay. Next question. What's the worst, best, and funniest moment at a sanctional event you've experienced? It could be behind the scenes or it could be on the floor. So yeah, let's start with the worst first, if you can remember any.
Worst.
Personally.
Yeah, I think anytime you get a bunch of no reps and you're kind of not sure why you're getting them and you just keep getting them, I think a lot of people can relate to that. That's obviously frustrating and there's not much you can do because like the judges are volunteers. You don't want to get anchored them. Like they're doing it for free and
Yeah.
they're trying to help out. So I had a moment at the French Throwdown last year where there was like a double kettlebell swing, and the standard was just hard to know if your arms were up at the right height, and you had to pick it up a certain way. And I think I got like close to 20 no reps.
Oof.
Yeah, and I was like, and it was speaking French. I was like, oh no, I don't speak French. So it was just annoying. But like it's a sport. So like that's kind of stuff that's going to happen.
When you get all these no reps, how do you get through it? Like how do you get past the frustration?
It's definitely hard because it's like a lot of these times, like they're quick moments. Like the workout might only be 6 minutes, so like you can't really separate yourself and like think too rationally because you're out of breath. You're trying to race, and like it's a tight time frame. But I think like obviously you know what has to be done. What I mean by that is like say it's 20 reps you have to do. Like you have to do this exact movement 20 times to complete and move on to this next bit. So like it is still a task that has to be completed. So if you can kind of bring yourself back to okay, I have to complete this task as opposed to oh fuck this or I'm getting pissed or anything like that. You just got to try and bring it back to staying task focused, I guess.
Let's say it feels like a longer race.
Yeah.
Do you have like a certain type of breath work to kind of calm you down and get back into the zone, or is it just like a natural instinct of just keep going for it? What's your usual process if you're struggling in a particular workout and you're trying to get through it?
Yeah, sometimes if I'm really struggling, like it's like say it's like heavy or whatever, and you like I'll make sure I take like 3 big breaths and then go for a movement. Like you don't like just to prevent myself from blowing up almost. Like say it's like heavy snatches or something. Like you can't just keep going. You'll eventually just run out of juice. So like you have to. I guess that's almost more of a pacing thing. But like when the going gets tough, I guess it would be a natural instinct just to kind of keep at it until the buzzer goes. You know.
Nice, cool. So what was the best moment of a sanctional you've experienced?
I'll have a quick think. At sanctionals, okay. So the best moment I've had is when we went to strength and depth. This was it February or January? I was put in the top heat with like the big dogs. So there's you look down the lane, there's like all these names, you just know all their names. And Matt Fraser's right in the middle. For the workouts, the standard, so it was 30 clean and jerks, 30 muscle ups, 30 snatches. And that was a CrossFit Games workout last year. And that was just very, very cool. Like, it was really loud. Everyone was getting into it. I was quite happy with the performance as well. I think I was, I don't know, top 5 maybe, or top 6 in that workout. Which is always good.
Well,
so the crowd as well, it was just loud. There was hype. I think it was the first workout of the weekend where, like, it was indoors, because up until then, or the only workout of the day until then, was a 6K run, which was outside, and then that was the big one. Everyone came to see on Friday night lights. Yeah, it was just kind of cool.
Nice. And the funniest moment of a sanctional event?
Have to have a quick thing.
It could be, behind the scenes.
I remember at regionals, this is not, I guess not sanctionals, but there was a toilet. There was a toilet in the warm-up area just between the warm-up area and the corrals, where you had to wait for the workout.
Okay.
And I'm not sure who it was, but I think it was a famous CrossFit Games athlete. I was in one of the stalls, and I just heard this voice, like this kind of, English wasn't their first language, but they were like essentially asking me to pass some toilet paper in. So you ran out of toilet paper. At an essential moment, they're probably about to go out to work out or an event. This is bizarre.
Do you do the Nutella drink, the Nutella trick?
What's that?
Where you were?
Oh, I see. I already know.
Where you were trying to, you asked for toilet paper, so it gives you Nutella on the hands instead.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Not quite there, but almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know who it was in the end?
No, I
you don't want to mention the name, but you just don't know.
I just don't know. It sounded like it could have been BKG or someone like that, because it just had that kind of, like, you could just tell English wasn't their first language. I wasn't going to wait around in the toilet either to see.
Just to find out.
You, haha. Yeah. So I definitely promptly left. That's the scene of the crime.
Yeah. Don't know, but it's also almost kind of embarrassing when you're next to a stall or someone, isn't it? And
yeah,
I know what you mean.
Place to be starting.
No, it's not relationships or friendships.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, nice to meet you. Whatever.
Oh dear, no, that's quite good. Right, so what was your favourite sanctional event you've been to?
Favorite sanctional event? I think the Filthy 150. That was just very cool. The workouts were awesome. I remember just showing up the day before, looking at the size of the place. Like, it was just, because I'd seen it in its kind of earlier iterations. So the step up was unbelievable. And it's just very cool to see. It was also the only one I didn't really have to travel for. It was just like a 25-30 minute drive from the house.
Nice.
But just nice.
Cool. So now take me back to the Open 2019. And from what I remember, don't take my word for it, you were quite close to getting a shot at the CrossFit Games. Take us back and from your point of view, what happened, if you don't mind.
So this year's Open actually kind of went quite well. It was really close between me and this other guy called PD Savage, which is, definitely the coolest name in the world. So it was very close. Like, it was kind of quite a back and forth really between me and him. Like, he'd win one week, I'd win the next, kind of thing. And it just came down to, I think it was 1 point in the end. So it was a very close battle. And then, actually, strangely enough, but worldwide on the leaderboard, I managed to be a few spots ahead of him, and just whatever way the points fall or the placings work. But it only by like two people or 3 people. So it was extremely close. But obviously, got to feel gutted for him this year with coronavirus, obviously the game's not going ahead. Well, the games is going ahead, but the field is drastically cut, so national champions are out. So obviously, yeah, definitely feel horrible for him.
Yeah.
But like, you know, there's like he said it himself. There's like bigger things to worry about right now, which really kind of, that's a champion's mindset from him for sure.
Mm. Exactly, and it's something that nobody can control it, and you shouldn't really focus on things you can't control and get bogged down about. So no, I agree.
Exactly.
But at the time of the Open, right afterwards, when you found out the kind of scores, kind of pre, official results, what was your kind of like, knowing that you kind of, did you know you just missed out? Were you like devastated? What was your mental space going through it?
Strangely, going into the Open, I wasn't even that fussed about being the national champion or ever, because the year before, not the year before, but the 6 months before, where the Open was closer, I was kind of stressed about it, and then the first workout of that went really badly for me. So then I was like, okay, from then on, I was like, okay, just do the workouts once and give your best effort and that sort of thing. And it definitely kind of led me into a kind of more relaxed mindset going into the second Open of the year. So I was quite relaxed going in. So I only did the first workout once, which in retrospect I probably should have done again. But I was quite, I guess as the weeks went on, I got more into it because I could see that I was doing kind of all right. So after maybe the third week, okay, I was kind of okay, maybe there's a chance here. I think I was doing quite well after week 3, and then as it went on, it was just so close. And then the last week, I'd given it my absolute best, so I kind of had no regrets. And I know that I was kind of doing all right, that I could qualify for a bunch of sanctionals, and like I'd still have a competitive season. It wasn't like I failed at anything. I don't know how to put it, but I didn't feel like I failed at anything. That's for sure.
Good, fair. No, that's fair. So I'm guessing next year that's one of your targets is to potentially beat PD, or who else you got? I forgot his name now.
You got Mickey Smith as well.
Yeah.
And you got Jamie Heaton.
Yeah, and the young guy as well, isn't he? He's up there.
Ty, yeah. Ty Lawless as well. He's good too.
Yeah.
So it's a deep pool. It's very close to the top of the Irish athletes for the male side. I think on the female side, Emma McQuaid is quite a landslide. She's just an absolute beast.
So going through the Open, what's like, or leading up to it, like you say, you weren't stressed out about it. You kind of like, you weren't worried about.
Yeah, I just wasn't thinking about the Open. I think I almost nearly got the dates wrong in my head as well. I thought it was like 3 weeks later than it was as well. So it's like, and then suddenly next week's the Open. So I hadn't had like 2 weeks prior of like thinking about it, because I thought it was like starting later as well, which was handy.
Do you reckon that helped you, though, like kind of being relaxed about it?
Oh yeah, definitely, especially at the start, because I think the first week of the Open is definitely the most stressful for pretty much everyone, because there's so much hype. Like, it's just hyped up so much. You see it all over people's stories, and people are talking about it, and oh, what's it going to be? Like, everyone's guessing the clues and stuff. And then once you do the first workout, you're kind of stuck in. You're kind of into things, and that's just kind of the process of it. Then it's like, okay, well, we're in it now. There's nothing we can do about week 1. You're just kind of stuck into it then. But prior to the whole thing, it's definitely the most nerve-wracking time. So I was kind of happy that I wasn't stressing about it too much. And I guess definitely because the 6 months prior that I knew it could go so wrong, and that not qualifying as national champion wasn't the end of the world by any means. So like, I didn't have that kind of intense pressure on myself either.
Gotcha. Talking about pressure, do you usually put a lot of pressure on yourself when it comes to competing?
Yes and no. I definitely make sure I absolutely do my best at whatever workout or event or the Open or whatever I'm doing, whatever's in front of me. But like, I'm not like like I can't control how other people do. So like I can only do my thing. But like if my thing is my absolute limit, and then everyone else is still going to beat me, like I couldn't show up there and place banana peels around their gym and hope they slipped and messed up. There's nothing I can do to affect them. So
Hmm.
um, so like I'm not like if I don't like say like I can't say I want to get this placing because the workouts just could suit someone else better or something.
Gotcha. Is pressure a thing where you've kind of learned to deal with when you, because you've been competing for many years, where it's martial arts or CrossFit, is pressure something that you've learned to deal with, or is it something where it gets worse every year? How do you find it?
I think it just stays the exact same, and you just kind of just notice it a bit more rationally. I think you're always going to feel nervous. If you don't feel nervous before an event, especially the live competition,
Mm.
I think something's wrong. You're not present, or it doesn't matter to you. Um, I think the pressure stays the exact same, but maybe you get a little bit more kind of like used to it. Not used to it that it goes away, but it stays the same. We just recognize it more and just go, okay, well, this is just how it is.
Gotcha. No, that's pretty good. I agree. So now tell me a little bit about the greatest challenge you've ever faced and how you overcame it.
I don't know if it's like a, this isn't a comparatively this isn't like a massive challenge, but like at the
Sure.
time, for me, like I was in my second year of college, and I just wasn't enjoying it, and like I was kind of just afraid to leave the course. Like I was doing a sports science degree, but just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't kind of what like I was interested in. It was kind of different than what I had expected. Um, and I think just like knowing that, okay, it's always the thing, like you go to school, you try and get in and do a degree or whatever. But like just kind of trying to tell myself and kind of be okay with the fact that it's actually not a big deal that if you leave college, um, like it's not the end of the world in any means. It's actually probably one of the better things I had done. So um, yeah, I think that would be a big challenge. At the time, it was kind of just like, okay, how do you tell your mom? Like, but my mom was like, absolutely. She's like, whatever you're going to do, like, we're behind you. Whatever. She wasn't like, how dare you leave
Mm.
college, whatever. But like, it was just one of those things you think about. It was always on your mind, and it's just like, I don't even know if this is a challenge, but like when you make that kind of decision or you leave something like that behind, if it's not for you or you don't believe in it or it's not the right thing, and you leave it behind, and it's just a weight off your shoulders. I think those kind of decisions like are almost big challenges in themselves. I think people get really tied into things, like they're afraid to leave something. Um, they're afraid to leave something like for like maybe they feel like a commitment, but they can't explain why they have a commitment to it or whatever. I think almost leaving that was just like an eye opener and something like a smart decision that I kind of translate over into other decisions as well.
No, I agree. I mean, whenever it's decisions is another word in Latin for scissors, I think. So when you can't remember what the phrase is, but with decisions, you kind of cutting something off, and to try and cut it is, what I mean, it's hard to undo a
Exactly.
cut. So no, I completely agree.
Exactly. That's a very good way of putting it.
So moving on, what is your daily what does your daily routine look like on a normal day?
So on a normal day, I guess pre-lockdown, I get up around 8. I'll try and eat pretty much straight away. Drink a lot of water. Um,
What do you eat?
breakfast is usually oats, like a porridge or something with maybe some fruit. Strangely, I like porridge with pears and strawberries. It's actually a great combination.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've not
Then,
tried that one. I'll give it a go.
oh yeah, I'd recommend. Then I try and go straight to the gym early enough. Try and be at the gym from maybe 10 to 11. I'll train until roughly 1. Now some days I could have like personal training clients or something in the morning, so that would just shift the day a little bit, but I'd still get the training done. I could have then at one. Some days you could have like a meeting, or definitely have lunch around that time. Then I'll try and train again from maybe 2 or 3 till about 4 or 5, and then from usually about 5 or half 5 onwards till about 8 or half 8, I coach classes. Usually I'm coaching in the evenings, and then I go home. I'll have my dinner and just chill out. That's usually that was a pre-lockdown kind of day. And then at the moment, I'll get up around the same time, maybe a bit later, because we're all sleeping in. Um, I try and eat the exact same. So I'm eating porridge in the mornings. Then I usually have to contact a few people just to make sure everyone's happy, members are still happy and stuff. And then I'll train until 1. I'll have 1 to 3 off, and then I'll try and train throughout the evening then as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. What have you found most helpful to your training, whether it's a particular coach or a particular plan, or any supplements that you use that you would recommend to other people to help with their training?
So last June, I started following the Prepared program from Phil Hesketh, and I found that to be like a massive help to my training, because until then I kind of got stuck in the same kind of routine of I was just doing metcons, like I'd do like 4 or 5 metcons a day, but like some of them would be geared a bit more towards maybe like if I needed to work on handstand push-ups, I'd just do it in a metcon. I wasn't doing any like specific work. Like I'd kind of fallen out of doing strength work. I'd fallen out of doing like just aerobic conditioning work, and same with like gymnastics and stuff. I would just put them into metcons and do them that way. So like to break it down and do like specific, okay, you have your lifting or your strength work, or it could be like strongman stuff, and then a metcon. Then you have extra add-ons of the day, like specific accessory work, gymnastic work, engine, and then extra strength work if you need it for that day as well. Just to break it down and have different focuses. And obviously, I really like the workouts, and the style of his workouts are different to the ones I program for myself. So I was getting a kind of new adaptation to training as well, because I kind of got in the same. I was doing the same type of workouts. I got good at doing a specific type of workout, like kind of heavy barbell cycling, kind of flashier workouts. I kind of lost the ability to get or do well at grunt kind of work, that kind of stuff. So that made a huge change. Supplement wise, what do I take? I take creatine, and then sometimes if I haven't recently kind of in the off season now, I don't really take it, but coming up to competitions, I'll take beta alanine as well. Before workouts. I'll take protein powder. I'll take a multivitamin and a cod liver oil, and then the CBD oil as well. Obviously, that's big. I take that before I go to bed.
What was life like before CBD and after CBD? What have you noticed while taking CBD oil or after taking CBD oil?
Yeah, so for me, when I was taking before I was taking it, every night I'd wake up maybe once or twice just to go to the bathroom. I just always be waking up to go to the bathroom. And now when I take it, consistently, like I find that I just sleep the whole night through. Like I don't wake up until the morning. Then obviously I have to go to the bathroom then, but like I sleep the whole night through.
Right, and I bet that makes a massive difference to your recovery. And
yeah, exactly. Because sometimes you wake up, okay, you put on the light, and like suddenly you're awake, and like it takes half an hour to go back to sleep or something,
Right.
So like you getting that good quality sleep. I guess also lockdowns probably helped with the sleep as well. You could just sleep.
Yeah, it's true. Not much going on, so it's. So
I find it's helped with my I get like if I'm doing like a lot of grippy stuff, like I get like kind of my knees will swell up, and in one knee particularly, and then my elbows kind of get a bit like, the only way I can describe it is rusty. Like it's probably tendonitis, but like I find that kind of that kind of doesn't happen as much. Like the inflammation or whatever isn't just getting at me like as badly at all. Like it really comes back, you know.
Gotcha. No, I agree. So what made you come to us for the CBD?
I'd seen it on Instagram, and I went, okay, I seen like two people I know, and kind of like I trust, I guess, in the CrossFit space, going, okay, well, I better try this one. And if it's kind of like it's always nice to see someone kind of if their product kind of is aimed towards CrossFitters, you, as a person who like massively into CrossFit, you kind of trust that, or at least want to support that company more, because it's a smaller community sometimes. So like you want to get after or support people who support CrossFit, that's for sure. So I just saw it on Instagram and then went in that way.
Good on you. Good on you. And the other supplements you take, is there any particular brands that you highly recommend?
So I take whey protein. What I like about them is it's the only protein that I've ever had that actually tastes nice with water. Like most protein, I'm like, I don't like the taste when I mix it with water, only with milk. But then I was at a competition and I had my weighed, or I think this was actually before, like one of the first times I had weighed, I was at a competition, they had the sachets, and I put it in my bottle of water because that's all I had. And it tasted amazing. And I was like, okay, this is strange that it mixed with water so nicely. And then for the beta alanine and the creatine, I use Blonix, another company that's how do I say it, like tested. So like they're like it's on the informed sport list, I think. So like that it's a good source as well.
No, cool, perfect. Next question is, what advice would you give to any young athlete who wants to compete at sanctional events around the world like you do? Like, what would you do? What would you say to them to prepare them mentally before going into it, if it's like their first time?
Oh, prepare them mentally. Okay, so definitely the first time you do something like that, just have zero expectations on results. Like if it's your first one, like you cannot be going in there saying I have to win this. I think that is the wrong thing to do, because chances are you probably won't. So you'll probably just get bogged down if that doesn't happen. So for the first kind of one, go in with kind of little to no expectations, and kind of just remember how it works. Like, because there's a lot of things that you probably won't realize, because it's a big difference going from the gym to train or doing a competition. Like the warm up areas, like I was saying earlier, like sharing weights and stuff, and in the warm up area, and then you're getting called like heat times. You have to know your heat times, and then what they usually do is they call the heat. You have to wait, like this. You'll warm up. You'll essentially cool down by the time you go to the floor, because you have to wait so that everyone's in the right place and the whole operation runs smoothly. So just being prepared for that, and just kind of learning that experience, and not taking notes, but taking mental notes at least of how the whole thing operates. I guess, and then obviously just like other things, like have enough food, make sure you're eating enough food, drink enough water between events. Like especially towards the end of the weekend, you don't want to eat anything. You just want to lie down all the time. But like, make sure you warm up thoroughly before each event, cool down on the bike or something, because it makes a difference as the weekend goes on. And then also just eat. And then as I was saying earlier, remember like preparing for the workouts and stuff. So having a bit of a plan, so you can checklist yourself off after being like, did I execute, or did I just wing it? So that sort of stuff as well.
That was pretty good advice for anyone really, whether you're young or mature. So no, that was very good. So moving on to your own personal goals now. So what's your end goal for CrossFit, and what are you looking to achieve before you finish as a competitive athlete?
Yeah, so definitely the goal is to get to the CrossFit Games. I think my goal is to get there, but also get there more than once. So I know it wasn't a fluke. I'd like to go a few times because I think I have I definitely have a lot of time on my side. That's for sure. So like my goal is to go maybe a few times, and then just like compete as much as I can while I'm young, and like fortunate enough to live that kind of lifestyle. I think that's really my goals for now. But like CrossFit Games on the radar more than once.
Nice. I'm sure you'll get there pretty soon. So now I'm looking forward to that. And so to finish things off, how can people reach out to you if they're looking for advice? And where can they follow your journey? Where's the best place for them to go?
Yeah, I think the only real social media I have is Instagram. So my username is Sam dot like full stop Stewart, Stewart.
Nice, perfect. Thanks for coming on the show, Sam. It was an absolute pleasure, and we'll be following you on Instagram and keeping up with your goal to get into the games.
Cheers, Joseph. Thanks for having me on.
Nice one.